In Astoria, Oregon, a haunted hotel was turned into an MK Ultra methamphetamine experiment. Ooh. I called the local historian at the community college. Could he help us? Something was happening in the trash room. The odor was pernicious. Could it be dead bodies? Or was it merely the dead bird being sacrificed in the basement? Ooh. The meth head was up on the plexiglass covering the roof shaft. It was bulletproof. He wouldn't fall. He's over 200 pounds. He politely ducked away. Possibly he was afraid. A dead body was found on a mattress, soaking into the mattress. A homeless person entered the room, unbeknownst to him, sleeping in the putrid fluids of the deceased resident of the haunted methwyn Hotel circa 2021. Ooh. The manager said she was afraid the heroin dealer would kill her, so she didn't want to kick him out. The day after she kicked out the meth-dealing couch surfer Mark, he followed her to her car. Ooh. Threatening her. She asked Coast Property Management for a taser, but he would not give it to her. They didn't really care. They didn't really support her. They didn't give her a janitor or even a broom or a mop bucket, so the floors went unmopped for 6 months. Ooh. Finally got up to the vice president. She was willing to make it all go away for half a month of free rent. Must have been a bribe. Do you want to be in a film?
What kind?
I'm making a horror movie about a haunted hotel that got turned into an MK Ultra experiment where people were dosed with methamphetamine and drugs through the air vents. Like drugs unbeknownst to you. You're walking through the hallways, you don't know what you're breathing, what you're imbibing through your bloodstream.
Based on a true story.
The tragic incident of a brutal assault by a resident on the 4th floor. I'm doing the voiceover right now. Went unprosecuted because the police were in on it. As long as he was attacking a persona non grata, the bloodshed could continue. He fought like a cat-scratching imbecile, all lanky in arms and legs, repeatedly knocking him into the ground in front of the bank. But later I would find out that a young woman was also followed by the same assailant in the hallways, such that her mother bought her pepper spray. Ooh. When confronting the property management about the issues, they tried to send an environmental lawyer turned slum lawyer. He didn't seem well-equipped intellectually for the job. Ooh. If he doesn't have what it takes to run an MK Ultra methamphetamine experiment next to Astoria City Hall, then maybe he'll move on to a better slum. The new so-called maintenance man couldn't put in a screw for 6 weeks. He could strut around with a gun, but I got him in trouble for that. He's no longer strutting with his gun in the lobby. His Hope's eyes grow wide. Ooh. And the fire chief said it was the safest building in the city of its kind, that the sprinklers would protect the people should fire take a light. With numerous alarms affecting the community, they were issued out onto the street, facing piercing, screeching screams. The lift was perilous, dangerous. In fact, it almost sucked in a person's arm, and the door almost crushed the imaginary wheelchair that would never be. Why put a wheelchair in a basement unless you're trying to kill someone in case of fire? The plexiglass might be suffocating as you watch the meth head scramble through the transparent, bulletproof plexiglass as he's high as a kite, thinking, well, if there were a fire, I could be rescued from the air shaft. But the fire marshal suggests the air shaft is not for rescue. The stairwells are, the overly steep stairwell and the overly dirty stairwell and the overly pot-filled stairwell. I mean, maybe drugs aren't such a bad thing after all. The drug dealers seem to be the most reasonable people in the building when you meet the management. The maintenance guy doesn't carry his gun around anymore, but he still can't put in a screw. He stopped cornering people. People say he might be having an affair by mutual agreement with a different woman. Maybe he's distracted. Woman John lives there. We give him updates. We tell him we're fighting the eviction. 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever it takes. I told the lady down at the social services building this might drag on till April. If we make it till April. Someone I just spoke to said, well, I hope I make it out alive. A homeless man on the street said there's stranger things happening in that building than I've ever seen in any other building. And City Hall says I'll contact Julie Garver, and Julie Garver says housing first. Ooh, or is it drug dealing first? We're not sure. But what if there were more housing and people could spread out a little more and not pile in with couch surfers and homeless women in and out to take showers or do whatever else? People have suspicions there might be other vice happening in this building. But with the atmosphere pumped with marijuana fumes through the air vents, or marijuana, maybe meth cooking, heroin, we're not really sure who the people are in the hallways lurking and screaming like a haunted house with no technicians and no assistants.